Welcome to the Vision Profiles podcast. Join us, dedicated Apple Vision Pro users, as we dive into everything from hardware and software to apps and the latest updates in the world of Apple Vision Pro. I'm Marty Gensius, a member of a Midwest University, podcaster and Apple product fan.
And I'm Eric Bolden. I today work in IT, but my interest is in finding interesting ways to share content, currently photography of plants, birds, and panoramic sequences.
And we have a guest with us tonight, David Ginsburg. David, introduce yourself.
Hey, everybody. I'm Dave Ginsburg. I'm the host and producer of the podcast In Touch with iOS. Great to be here, and I've been a Vision Pro owner for what? God, I think it's been 6 months now since I bought it. So I've been so glad for you to have me here. I appreciate it.
It's great to have you with the show. And I know you're passionate about the device, and it's been fun to see that happen. Yeah. We had you on, I think, about a month or two after you got it, and it's nice to have you back, and we need to have you back more often to be part of this, because you always have some good insights on whatever articles are out there. Anything new with your week? For any of us, anything new with your Apple Vision Pro?
Other than I watched the Metallica concert after you did, and I have thoughts.
Okay, we will cover Metallica. My son and I, after I did some work this morning, we have I call it pig out parenthood, and we go to a Asian buffet and just eat lunch to the point where you're not even thinking about a meal till the next day. And afterwards, I said, have you seen the Metallica thing? And he's like, no, I want to come over and see it. And so he stopped by our house, and he had an opportunity to use it. And I also had an opportunity to try the guest mode. And we'll talk a little bit about that, too. That's in the plan with him. Actually, it was very strange. He never even got a guest mode. He just said, what's your login? And I don't know if it's like eye scanning because we're related, or it just didn't kick into guest mode with him. So, but he got in and was able to see it and able to make it run. So, I was new. Yeah, go ahead, Eric.
Well, no, I was doing some testing with that as well, and before the last beta update, it seemed like I could hand somebody the device and it would put it in guest mode. Now I actually have to put it in guest mode before I hand it to the person. And then it shows up on the phone and I get the extra mirroring control. So it seems like they're still tweaking things a little bit.
Yeah. I've had some experience with that. Let's start though with first thing I wanted to talk about. It was a security update that went out last week for everybody, in a sense. If you were on the developer beta, then you didn't really get to deal with it. It was done in the background. But this visionOS 2.3.2 update does some things in terms of security and also fixing some streaming issues. So we've got a couple of articles on that we'll put in the show notes for you. And it gives you some information. If you have not updated this, then please update just for the security purposes. I'm impressed that Apple is staying on top of this.
Yes, I would hope so. I mean, because it's security is at the utmost importance of them.
And then today we had a new release. We had a new Apple Vision OS 2.4 Beta 4.
Yep. Also, they knew we were going to do a podcast, so they had to come up with an update.
Yeah, and also apparently watchOS 11.4 and tvOS 18.4, and David will, I'm sure, talk about those Thursday at In Touch with iOS, and Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time is where you can find him on YouTube. And you really do cover all of the updates with that. And so I'm not going to go into the tvOS and the watchOS, and because we'll stay focused on Vision Pro. But Apple released Vision Pro, and 2.4.4. Here are the release notes for those that are interested. I'll have a link for that. The thing they do with release notes is they always take the latest release, the beta release, and when it comes out, they write over the previous beta. So you can't compare the release notes side by side to find differences. However, I kept a copy because in order to simplify what is going on at that time with 2.4.3, I ran it through ChatGPT to try and give some basics. So I was able to take the copy of 2.4.3 and compare it to 2.4.4 to look at any significant differences. And there's not a lot. Not a lot, and some of it is like, is deep. They talked about bug fixes across SwiftUI, RealityKit, and Simulator, and then refinements in the StoreKit API, which there was quite a bit of that in the release notes, including platform restructuring, expanding details on Spatial Gallery and libxml2. So they had done some work on both of that, but no new major features or changes, mostly stability kind of inputs. And of course, I went to the bastion of all knowledge, which was Reddit. And, they said it was snappier, and they said that the fixes were kind of inconsequential in terms of what you would see on the front end with it. But like Eric said, I every Monday it's like, well, I know we got a show tonight, and it wasn't until 4:00 today that I put the headset on to be able to figure it out. And sure enough, there was an update. And
earlier this morning, so
yeah. So not much with the update that we can tell. This is developer beta,
right?
Not your standard OS with visionOS. So Dave,
no public beta.
No public beta. So let's talk about getting your opinions. And we've talked about these platforms in the last couple of shows when they first came out. But I'm really curious about the iOS Vision Pro app.
Well, I happen, as most people know, I do not put beta on my primary device. I know you do, Marty, but I don't. But lucky me, I have a 16E. So I've now put that on here. So now I don't care what happens to this phone because it's got beta. So I've had a ton of time to play with it, but I mean, it's nice and all. It has the My Vision Pro, so it tells you what there is about, what the information about the device, the serial number, and gives you some tips. All the tips are in here too, and then the user guide, and you can set up personalized spatial audio. But I'm actually disappointed with this. I mean, it shows the different games and videos, and here's the spatial gallery where you can go in and take a look at that. And in fact, I'm tapping it, and it doesn't even do anything.
Yeah.
So that's obviously still in the works. New in apps and games this week. I mean, it's just like being on the Vision Pro. I mean, you just go through it and okay, I've seen that, I see that, and I can do the same thing on the Vision Pro by scrolling through it. I was hoping this was going to be more granular and more intuitive, so you could add these apps to the queue, and then you can go ahead and download them and install them right from the iPhone. So why can't you do that? So again, I would venture to say it's probably something that they're looking to update as the beta. In fact, I don't think I've even updated beta on here yet. So
you can't click on an app that's in there and it will open up your iTunes store and ask you to download it, or it says it will be downloaded later.
Yep.
Eric, is that true?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Here's one I went to the Gucci one that's there, and you can get it, and plus it's got in-app purchases. But if I tap this, oh no, it does do it. It says get this app on your Apple Vision Pro. Okay, so I hadn't tried this. It said the app will automatically download and install on your Vision Pro the next time you use it. Yeah. Okay, so that does work.
And we know you're a Gucci sort of guy, so
I am. So. So that's good. But the thing is, all it's doing is it's just new in apps and games. I want to be able to get to the App Store
Right.
And be able to look at everything, and they still haven't done that yet. I mean, these are just highlighted apps that had just come out, so like your money coach, my budget planner, and art authority museum, Sino, immersive gallery, and panorama. Okay, there's something else, but these are all new, so I don't have any options to go look at all apps. That's what I would love to see. Maybe it's coming. I don't know. That's kind of a disappointing that you can't do that.
Yeah, I'm just really surprised they don't have a tab for visionOS apps in the App Store. But that could be. I mean, how do you determine if something's a visionOS app? If it's visionOS only, that's pretty clear. But if it's every other platform plus visionOS, it's kind of hard to. They should have a strong enough search engine to figure that out.
Yeah, because I don't think the Vision Pro apps will actually come up in the App Store if you're looking on your iPhone or your iPad. So
no,
if it's Vision Pro only, you won't even see it. So
yeah,
so that's kind of disappointing to where it is. But I mean, overall, it's a good start. But I think it's got a long way, a little bit of ways to go to be more intuitive and user friendly and usable, I should say.
So, what did you think of the tips?
Yeah.
What did you think of the tips section? Did you look at it?
The tip section is good. I mean, it's just like the tip section of an iPhone or an iPad. So you can get, your get started, fit and care, essentials. It's got just some good stuff in here, and it's, like I said, it's laid out just like it is for the iPhone, the iPad, even the Mac for that matter. They have the tips for the Mac as well. So I think they kept it consistent to the way it was. But navigation and just the basics. I think this is a good way for folks to be able to get to this, because navigating the tips in the Vision Pro can be a bit more challenging. This might just give you a good start to read up on it before you decide to dive into it and get a good thing here, because it does have some tips in it. So, like, in fact, I just moved over to tips and I already switched over to iOS 18. So. But the fit and care and the essentials, there's some good essential tips here. Actually, there's only 4 or 5. So, and it even has discover more. So, like with your photos and camera and person. That's fine. It went back to iPhone again. Jeez. No. Never mind. So it's limited. There's not a ton of tips in here, but it obviously it's going to iOS 18 right away. So it obviously it's a little bit of work in progress on here. And I haven't downloaded beta 4 yet, so maybe something's changed since the last since I tried this. So I
think it's a pretty app. I mean, it's the way it's designed. It's really designed well. I still don't think it's going to win a design award at the end of the year from Apple, because it's just not as functional as people who have the device want. But at least it's a recognition that they're staying with it. So,
well, and I have to say, somehow through all of my playing with the Vision Pro, I had totally missed look to dictate, and it's really convenient. Anytime you're any place where there's a search, like the App Store or web browser, and there's a little microphone up there, you look at the microphone, you start talking. There's no clicking, there's no anything else, and I had totally missed that, and it's just a nice feature.
And it's often better than the typing just alone.
Yeah. But I had always gone and looked at the mic and clicked it. I didn't realize you just had to look at it and then start talking. So that was kind of cool. So that I got out of the essentials section.
Okay.
So that was worth it for me.
Let's talk about guest mode. As I was texting with David yesterday that I'm a tech bachelor in my household. I don't have anybody that I can guinea pig my technology on until my son comes over, and he humors me. So I haven't had the opportunity to use guest mode much. Let me know what you think or how you've seen it. Yeah.
I did it on beta 3. I actually had my wife I wanted her to see some of the immersive videos. So she put it on and I didn't do anything, and she was able to get in, like you mentioned earlier, Eric, that she didn't have to do anything. She just got in and it just said, was asking for a passcode. So she put my passcode in. It bypassed the eye sensor, and then she was able to go on her merry way, went into the Apple TV app, and was able to watch the immersive videos that I wanted her to see. So it seemed to be a heck of a lot more flawless than it was at the beginning. It was horrible. Well, you guys remember, I was still having trouble just flipping my hand and looking at it to get it up in that mode.
Yeah.
I'm a pro at it now. So just look my eyes over. Don't move your head.
The thing that it occurred to me is I didn't put the headset on. I just gave it to my son and turned it on, and then he put it on. So I'm wondering if you get a different process. If I turn it on, put it on my head, it's registered, and then I give it to someone else, and then it kicks in guest mode. But for him, he just, as I said earlier, he just put it on and got into Metallica.
Yeah.
Well, and then when I was playing with it, and I went and actually told it to go into guest mode, took it off and handed it over. And with that, then it doesn't ask you for the passcode, and you get the notification on the phone so that you can watch what's going on. So that made it a bit of a difference, and that seemed to be a little bit different than one of the other times I tested it. So I'm not sure. Maybe they're still tweaking it, but yes, it has definitely gotten better.
Yeah. Oh, no, there's no question.
Well, this week, the part of the big news was the idea that Apple Intelligence has not worked out the way that they thought it would work out. And we have one article on that because we talked a little bit about it before. There are lots of articles, including Gruber's Daring Fireball article and lots of other people that are taking Tim Cook and Apple to task on the fact that they've overshot what they thought they were going to do with Apple Intelligence. This article came out, Apple Insider, which is interesting because I've heard things on both sides of the story coming from Apple Insider, or read things from both sides of the story. And the big tripwire in this, I think, is the fact that they put out an ad and led people to believe it could do this function of helping you find somebody who you don't recall, but you'll be able to do that. And that's the contextual aspect of that's Apple's trying to sell with the product. They're not trying to write term papers with this thing. And so that was the oops. That was problematic. Any thoughts on this?
I have had really good success now searching for a photo given a description, saying, show me the pictures with a dog and a banana tree, or show me things where it would have taken me a couple of hours to try and find what I was looking for, or where I would have to go to the location in the US and then page through hundreds and hundreds of pictures instead of it just coming up and showing me everything it thought matched. So in that respect, I've actually been pretty happy with it. It's not perfect. It doesn't get everything, but it gives me a second way to search images. And when you have a whole lot of them, it's helpful.
I'm still liking the summarizations of notifications because I get a chunk of people in an email group telling me something and I'm busy in a meeting or something and it just comes up. I have way too many notifications on it. And like David, I have a 16E. And I'm using that as my primary driver right now, just because of the convenience and the light and the moving. But so
I can't. I have to use my big one. I love it.
I don't have big. I have a big one. I just don't have big pockets. And
I make room in the pocket.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
So I do like. Yeah, I still like the notifications. And that function seems to work for me.
I haven't found any major flaws with it. I mean, since you talked me into buying a ChatGPT subscription, I've been using that a lot more and finding some good, useful things with it, and trying to learn more on it. And, I need to also learn a lot more Copilot because of work. So being on top of those platforms is very important these days. But as Gruber said, I think that Apple blew it. They should not have been advertising, and they should have been not saying that it's ready to go. That was, and they have since pulled those ads. I think that was a big flaw, and you've noticed that Apple's been very silent about it, and they even had a all hands meeting with all the 100 executives. So of course you're not going to hear anything about that. So, but I think there was some flaws to it. I mean, and Apple made a mistake, honestly, but. Will they recover from this? I think so. I don't think for the amount of people that are out there who are iPhone users are out there. There's so many who are not in our category.
Yeah.
In the technology world. I see it with my family. You see it with your families, and I see it from work with people I'm talking to that have iPhones, and I start talking about stuff. It's like, okay, they don't care what I'm talking about, honestly, unless it's something that's really cool to them. I mean, one time I showed someone that didn't know that you could do the health notifications on your watch, so I just didn't know that. She was blown away by that. So those are the kind of things that are a nice win-win for me, providing my knowledge beyond just IT support. So but that's the thing. I don't think. I mean, not everybody is into AI. I mean, I think people need to start. I mean, there's no question. I think that's the case, but I think Apple will get there. It's just unfortunate that it gets bad press, and hey, rightfully so. They should have done a better job of recovering from this.
Cletus in the chat room says he agrees with Gruber. Do you think maybe they were just too? I mean, they said we want a phone that, if I can't remember somebody's name by their face, I want Apple Intelligence to help me figure that out. And they said, oh yeah, we could do that. But they didn't realize that it was going to take long to get it done. And I've heard some explanations about it. They're still, I mean, all the things you talk about is still basically machine learning. It's not true AI in what it's capable of doing. And I think they said this is the foundation we're going to work on, and then they've had to scrap that foundation because it won't get them there. So do you think it was maybe just they were too optimistic in what the deployment would be?
I think everybody was too optimistic. There certainly was a whole lot of shipping models and finding out the hard way that something didn't work, or it wasn't private, or it didn't quite do what you wanted, or it went off the deep end, and we've at least avoided that.
Okay. Anything else on this, guys?
No, I'm thinking good.
Something clicked in my brain. By the way, the new developer beta release still does not allow you to do anything in the gallery, in the spatial gallery. It's still kind of a locked closet with Apple stuff. What I did see was that it was deployed in some countries where it wasn't deployed in past. So it's showing up on headsets in other countries that hadn't had it yet with this current beta release, developer beta release. So, and that was about all people could tell me from searching the web and finding things out. So the big news of the week. What do you think? Because I expressed I talked about this last week because I'd got it the day of and looked at it and had some impressions. Now that you both had an opportunity to look at it, I'd assume what impressions that you have.
Well, I guess I could start. I think one thing is you have to be a fan of this of Metallica. I mean, I think that's the most important thing. With any of these concerts, I mean, any of these musicians, you had Alicia Keys, you had Ray. I didn't think I'd like Ray when I watched her immersive video, but it was kind of freaky having those extreme close-ups of her singing and the complexion and all that. Yeah. But this Metallica concert really made me feel like I was there. I really felt that way. And me I've been to many rock concerts in my life. I really felt like I was there in the audience watching this show. I saw the cameras that were around the drummer and around the stage and the way they were immersing with these guys. And you saw the guitar player. I mean, I always forget their names, Lars, and I forget the other guy's name, but that the close-ups of the guitar players playing and of course the going right into the audience, like smash right into your face. It was kind of freaky, but kind of cool because it made me feel immersed. The sound was really good. I mean, I made sure I used my AirPods to listen because I think the sound on a Vision Pro isn't as good. And I wanted to really get an immersive I think you get a really immersive experience with the sound. But overall, you got a full perspective of the entire venue. Them walking down the aisle, doing a lot of as they're entering the stage. Just, I was kind of blown away. I think it's something for the future. And we know U2 is going to be doing another one. They're going to have another one coming up very soon. I'm really excited to see what they have done, because they've taken the technology to another level with their concert last year at the Sphere in Vegas, which I got to attend, and was just incredible with the technology. And they have behind the scenes of the Sphere on what U2 did on Apple Music. There's a video out there that you can actually see what the technology was. But with the immersive video, I'm really curious to see. I would assume they filmed it at the Sphere, but it's possibly not. But they didn't really say. But overall, I think this is well worth the short 25 minutes. I think too short, honestly, because most concerts could go 2 and 3 hours. I'm not expecting them to do that, but they played one of the big hits, Enter Sandman, and that was fun to sing along with and bang your head on some of this, when the songs are playing. So overall, I felt like I was there. It was really great experience.
Yeah, it was an interesting design for it, because it was this kind of slow start with like large stadium shots, and then band shots, and then the band getting ready, and then walking in. And so there's a long period of time. My son had it on, and he's like, finally, they're getting to the music. And so you've got 25 minutes, but you probably have 15 minutes a song or less.
It was only 3 songs. They only did 3 songs.
They only did 3 songs, but each one had a piece in the middle where that was this reflective narrative that they did. But I agree with you, David. I watched it and I paid attention to where the cameras were. And I've said this, I think the drummer's camera could have been pulled back a little bit, because the cymbal was right over my head, and it just kind of, I couldn't imagine being that close.
He's spinning around and sticking out his tongue, and you're getting pretty immersed.
And I would have liked to see more of a whole body. I want to see him drum. I really want to see him drum. So I think the camera placements were good. They didn't have people roaming around the stage with cameras, from what I could tell. I like that one camera in the middle that was just focused on Lars and the lead singer, and you could tell because they panned back from that. You could see, oh, this is like in the first row of the audience, and it's right at his eye level, and that's got to be great in terms of taking shots, and pretty inobtrusive for any of the audience members. I mean, having that there. And then the rest of them, because they were in a stadium, I think were just on cables, like you would have at a soccer match, you'd have at a football match, and you could see those occasionally come into the frame. But yeah, I was pretty impressed with it, and I wished it was a band that I would have been more tied to.
Sure, understandable.
But I'm looking forward to U2 too. Also, that I think is going to be a longer video. Yeah. Because it's something like 30 songs or some retrospective.
That's great.
I forget what the title is. Now, I don't know if they'll do all 30 songs in this video or not, but
I'd be surprised.
Commemorative thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched it, I think, 3 times. Once I watched it with no sound, because I just wanted to see where were all the cameras. And I didn't realize they had, 14 cameras that they were using for this. And then I went back and I watched it again. Oddly enough, I was watching it at night in bed with AirPods in to see, could I watch a concert like that while somebody was next to me trying to sleep? And it worked remarkably well.
Apparently, you haven't been to the concerts where the person next to you is drunk and passed out.
Well, there was one moment where one of my AirPods fell out, and there was like sound coming from the sound coming from the headset and sound coming from the ear, like a weird combination thing. That I gotta reach out and whack me until I nudge my ears back in again. But for the most part, it worked. And the next day, then I said, hey, come watch this. And that, to someone who's really sensitive to flashing lights and bright lights,
Yeah.
that was not a good thing to try. Now, she's kind of skipped ahead a bit, and it was a little bit better, but just a warning for people sensitive to bright, flashy lights that this might not be your best choice. My take. Oh,
I just because that warning comes up like right at the beginning. It's small in terms of screen size, and then they go. The next scene is flashing lights. It's like you don't even.
There's not enough time.
A break. Yeah.
Yeah. So my one takeaway from the whole thing, that my one kind of big wish, because I enjoyed it, but I didn't. And I understand kind of the cuts from place to place, and it kind of makes sense. But I would dearly love to have had a control you made that could show up where you click a spot and then it makes you stay in that spot and you get the whole thing from that perspective. I would love to see them do that. So you could have the kind of official show cut, but then go back and get the, your choice, sit wherever you want cut, where, you could be way up in the seats and see an overview of everything and watch the cameras go back and forth, or you could sit right on stage, or you could sit right off as, I would, because there were some spots that'd be like, oh, I'd really like, because all the people around you were all excited and it was fun to watch, and balls coming back and forth and everything. I wouldn't mind being there just for a tiny bit longer. So I'm hoping at some point in the future they'll have some additional control options in future shows.
Yeah, that sounds complicated in the sense of being able to pick your own adventure, because it means a lot of options and a lot of streaming or a lot of data has to be there to say, no, this is where I want to sit. I mean, you can do that in the theater mode, where you can say, I want to sit up front, back, or side with cinema.
Yeah. And how they do it, I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit more restrictive, but it's something that would be really neat. And I wouldn't have felt that way if I didn't enjoy watching this, even though it's not my first choice of music.
Yeah,
I still really enjoyed watching it.
Yeah, I worked in rock radio, and we had alternative rock, and we had a few music directors who came and went that were really into metal. And you had a rotation of records that you had to do, and if like a metal record came up or a hair band came up, I was like, oh, and I just had a really hard time with it. And I think Ben Rathik would have enjoyed it, but
yes,
it was just a little too much for me. And it was like, if I don't play it, maybe they won't know.
Well, Chuck Joyner might like it too.
Yeah. Chuck, and the thing is, we've been bugging Chuck to get a Vision Pro headset for a while, and he's been begging off, which is great. And then this Metallica concert thing came out, and it was like, come on, Chuck, at least go and get the demo, and then you'll not want to not get it. I mean, you'll want to get it. But then the reviews on this has been so good that I'm sure it's anybody who reads, and we have quite a few of the articles that we'll post. I won't flip through them in websites on the video, but they'll all be posted for you to take a look at. The reviews have been so damn good that there's a little bit of schadenfreude with Chuck that I hope he reads all the articles and gets a little to know what he's missing.
It's when he gets my review of it, he seems overly excited to hear what I have to say about it.
Yeah, I was on the fence with you, David. I don't know where you're going to go with that, because when you started the shows, I'll get to Metallica, and I'm like, oh boy.
I wanted to say that's the segment, which was now.
yeah, and so I'm glad you saw a lot of the things that both of you saw. A lot of the things in the stuff that I saw with it. I was just much more fascinated by how it was done and what the possibilities were than some of the small venue artists that we've seen. I mean, the Alicia Keys was cool, but it's basically somebody walking around with a camera.
It was in studio. I mean,
in studio was, and you can say the same. Weekend was kind of overproduced and
more like a music video.
And Ray was I enjoyed that music probably the best.
I was actually surprised the music was very good.
Yeah.
I had never heard her before until that video. So
right. But some of the close-up scenes, it was like, I don't even want my partner to get that close to me.
Yeah, it was
and I think she probably feels the same. Yeah, it was like, wait a minute. So yeah. But this, I think, was really showing how this medium, and I think it also could show how this medium could be used for sporting events or recording sporting
events. Which they've done already. With NBA did it with some of the things in the NBA app. But I think this is going to be a good start for the future with a lot of mainstream rock bands like Metallica. They're going to probably see some interest in this too. I mean, if anything, we'll get more and more content, and that's what Apple's doing. They want to drive to get the content is so important for this Vision Pro. We all love Vision Pro, but you always get the price tags stuff we always talk about. I don't need to talk about it again, but this device has got a great future for itself. All the pundits are always saying it's doomed. They're done. They're not doing it anymore. But it's still got some great future to it, and I can't imagine that Apple's just going to abandon it. There's no way. If they may come out a new one, but maybe not. Maybe they come out. We don't know what's going to happen. But my point is this type of content is going to drive this home. How you're going to have an amazing experience versus a Meta or versus a Google device or versus any other devices that are out there. Samsung, I noticed Samsung announced theirs, and you haven't heard boo about it since then. So it's got some things they got some things to iron out. Apple, no question about it, but great start. Great start with this.
Yeah, we covered an article a couple of shows ago, where we talked about the Samsung headset, and the prediction is it's probably going to cost as much as the Apple Vision Pro.
Exactly.
So hey,
yeah,
nana boo boo, for all the complaints they made about the cost. Yeah, I think it's going to be cool. And I've mentioned this app many times on here, Prima, which I think is a content. People need to start producing content for Prima. They have an initial bluegrass band that they have on it, $3.99, 16 minutes, and it is just incredible in terms of the shot and the experience. And not a lot of screaming people with their tongue sticking out in the audience. So it's a different kind of place. All right, I want to switch to gears a little bit, and as we're cruising through the show, David, this one I found today. Like at 3 p.m, it just came out. Cisco adds AirPlay and Vision Pro support to Microsoft Teams rooms.
I saw that.
What does that mean? Can you kind of explain that? Because this is sort of your place.
It is my place because I do support these devices in my place of work. Basically, what this is going to be, my understanding, I haven't had a chance to read the article real closely. And we'll definitely cover this on In Touch with iOS further, but the fact of the matter is being able to AirPlay stuff to a Teams room device. What a Teams room device is basically a PC. It's a PC that, in my case, it's a PC that the PC itself is mounted behind the TV, and then you have a Logitech touch panel screen. That's what that picture shows right there that you're showing from the article. That the panel is on the table, and that's what controls it being basically a dedicated Teams room device. So it doesn't have any PC access. I mean, we have access to it when we're administrators, but it basically, you can come into the room and the meeting room gets invited to the meeting through Outlook, and then you can join the meeting. Well, this is going to do is, it's also going to depend on security. I mean, many companies, ours included, are very, very serious about security. So I don't see this opening up real quickly. I mean, AirPlay does have its good security, but there's a lot of times where it doesn't, and they want to make sure that it's following all the NIST security protocols and making sure that you're staying within compliance of the enterprise security rules. And most companies are very smart with that. So, but it's going to be cool if you're going to be able to actually AirPlay from an iPad or an iPhone. A lot more companies are buying iPads, I'll tell you that. And to be able to have that ability without having to be tethered to a HDMI cable is pretty huge. But again, it's got to be secure, and then that's where it is in corporations, that they're very leery about this kind of stuff. So I'll be interested to see where it goes.
Yeah, and I know you've kind of lamented over the fact that you've got this Vision Pro headset, and the question is, how can I incorporate it into my work environment permissively?
Would love to.
And does this give you any more footage in doing that?
If that protocol is open, since the Vision Pro does have AirPlay support, it's possible. The problem with getting it into the corporate world, Teams is already supported on Vision Pro, but most use also Microsoft Authenticator, and I don't think Microsoft Authenticator is compatible to do that. And I've tried everything having the Vision Pro, and I'm looking and let me put the code in, and you know it's really hard, so I kind of gave up. And I haven't tried it lately, but if it's even supported, you know, many companies will go, you know, because many companies use Azure as their backbone for devices that are allowed through Intune. You know, Intune is the protocol MDM that is used to manage devices. So in the corporate environment, so you know, when an iPhone or an iPad or even a Mac would use Intune to be managed, if it's not trusted through Intune, then the device will not be allowed to work. Many companies are bringing their own devices, so not necessarily the Macs. I think in the Mac world, they want to keep that more controlled because it's a computer and it could cause more security issues. So you've got iPad and you've got iPhone that are connected to corporate networks, you know, using the Intune protocol and having it connected to all the Microsoft 365 apps, as well as SharePoint and Microsoft Edge. I mean, I can go on and on with the way it's secured, and those have to be secure because it's putting it in within the four walls of the security of a company. You know, so it's all of Microsoft, you know, OneDrive. You can use any of the Microsoft apps, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and SharePoint has its own app, and you know, I can go on and on. So. But with this, I think it's going to be a bit of time. I like I said, I want to look into this a little further because it's very fresh news for today, and I might go back and review it and maybe get some more of my insights later this week.
Well, another piece of news that is kind of application, you know, approach to using Vision Pro is this story about a physics teacher, China or Taiwan, I can't tell, demonstrates a physics exam question on how atoms move in 3D. And I'm going to switch to the website, or well, actually it's a YouTube video that came from a Reddit post, or it is a Reddit post. And so I think I can play some of this, and you can see him. I think he's using like a air paint kind of program to draw the path of a particle in this, and it's moving through the video pretty quick right now, but I think you'll get back to see him. He's explaining the physics problem, and then has this marvelous idea. I'll use my Apple Vision Pro. A little of this,
it zoomed on.
It's kind of, you need to watch the video, folks who are listening to this.
Yeah.
It's a little campy. Yeah. But, you know, teachers get campy sometimes for entertainment value. So he puts the Vision Pro headset on, and then he shares his field of vision. So it's shared in a way that people can see it up on their screen. And, of course, all the students wave at the screen because they're in his field of vision. But he's going to start using a paint program to...
Scary how he's walking.
Yeah, I'm going to try and move through this. So he's using a paint program to kind of show the trajectory of particles instead of, using a whiteboard to write it all on. He's kind of showing it in 3D space.
It's tough to draw with your hand like that.
Let's move it along. I don't know. I think, he is kind of showing dimensionality with it because he's walking on the images that he put in the air. that you can't easily see on a blackboard or a whiteboard.
Three-dimensional.
Yeah.
And I sent this over to a physics teacher and had her take a peek at it, and she said, yeah, that was a really clear way of showing it. You could see how many rotations you needed, and that was sort of the limit of. So it's nice.
Yeah. So yeah, that'll, again, all this stuff will be in our show notes. And remember, if you're listening to this on the podcast, the audio version of this, you can catch us on Monday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern time for the live YouTube stream, or of course, pick up the video on YouTube later or the podcast on any podcast server or service. One last piece, and Eric, you sent a text to me on this earlier this week. And so I wanted to put it in, and I don't know if there's any video with this, but a claim that cool videos are coming to AVP. Did you find anything?
President?
What?
I'm kidding.
No, it's not JD Vance.
I was kind of kidding.
Is there anything more about this?
I think there was. I think there was a link that came in later that had some examples. It was a little unclear how much was actually new and how much was a bunch of existing stuff, but there was going to be new. It did seem like there are a lot of people getting camera updates, and as soon as they get a chance to finish filming, we'll start to see some much improved content, and not just content where they filmed it and then they increase the resolution programmatically, something where it's natively shot at a higher resolution. So more of something to kind of keep an eye on. Hopefully in the next 2 or 3 months, we'll start seeing things, certainly within the next 6 months.
Yeah, it seems optimistic that, in a good way, optimistic that people are playing with these cameras, looking at camera updates and thinking of what they can do in terms of creating content with it. Any reaction to that, David, or anything to add?
Yeah, I would love to see some more videos. It's just, with Reddit, you kind of have to challenge that a little bit to see if is it something really legit. You read Reddit a lot more than I do, but I know there's a lot of great stuff out there for it, but sometimes you got to wonder.
Yeah.
But I would love to see some more videos. I can't, every time there's new stuff comes out, I can't wait to watch it.
Okay. Well, it's a thin week news-wise with Apple Vision Pro. And even searching anything on AR and VR, it's been kind of quiet. As we said, Samsung made their noise about their headset a couple of weeks ago, and we haven't heard anything about that. I'm sure more will come up as that comes up. But it's been quiet. It's been quiet, but at the same time, it's been noisy. All of the stuff on Apple Intelligence kind of pushed the news cycle around Apple for quite some time. And then Metallica came in, and that's been what people have been covering when it comes to AR and VR. Let's take a look at a couple of apps. These are apps, and I don't know if you have had some experience with any of these, but Eric's sending me some stuff through the mail. Yeah, through.
All right,
that's okay.
It was related to that last section, but so you can add it in the notes.
I can add it in the notes. Okay, so this app, Runestone. Have you seen this, or have you paid much attention to it? I am not a coder, but I've heard a lot of chatter about coders using this while using the Apple Vision Pro, and it comes in it's established already with the iPhone and the iPad, and it's basically a text editor. If you pay $10 for it, you get some other functions, syntax highlighting for many of the languages, including HTML, JavaScript, JSON, Markdown, Swift, Python, PHP. And so what I have seen about this, or when people talk about it, it's generally folks that are doing coding and doing it on the Apple Vision Pro, and they love this app. And of course, it's available on other platforms too, so that's probably the best part. Premium features include choosing between 8 icon apps. Boy, you can show line numbers. That's important. Highlight the selected line, increase line height and letter spacing. So there's some tweaking that you can do for the $10 if you want to pay the $10 for the premium version of it.
It hasn't been updated in a while. I don't know, while it was last updated in October of 2024. So
yeah,
I know that's only about 5-6 months ago, but I always look at that because I get concerned: is this app worth it if it hadn't been updated in quite some time?
Right.
I think I glanced at it a long time ago, and I haven't looked at it recently. But I might go back and try it again just to see.
Okay. This next app is a app called LinKeeper, and it helps you bookmark websites. And it has a Mac version, it has an iPhone version, an iPad version, and then an Apple Vision Pro version. And I opened it up, and it gives some opportunities for bookmarking. You kind of create your own folders in the app for various bookmarks. And this I found under the utility section of the App Store in the headset. Version history.
Reviews.
Yeah, not really great.
Well over a year.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's a year.
Oh, almost a year now. So concerned. But I mean, I like LinkKeeper. I think is that what it is?
Yeah.
That I like an app that because I'm a big bookmark user and always try to find better ways, of doing that. Whether it's social media or if it's anything else. Like I've been using from the Icon Factory Tapestry. It's been just a pretty amazing app, and they unfortunately don't have a Vision Pro app yet.
Yeah.
But looks like a cool app. I mean, it looks like it's free. You can try it without having to buy in on it.
What are the in-app purchases? Let's see what that's about.
Yeah, I looked. There was like up to $10, I think.
Yeah. Oh, it's donations.
It's donations. Yeah, so it looks like you're pretty much free. We'll try it out. Worth a try.
All right. Last one, I think. I think this last one that I put up is Lowe's Style Studio, and it is only available in an Apple Vision Pro, and it does what you would want AR to do. Go in and build your kitchen, change the cabinets, change whatever you want to do with it. And it's a way for you to put in different styles to transform what your kitchen looks like. And of course, it's Lowe's, so you want to then purchase it from Lowe's. And I'm not going to put it together. I'm going to get probably a Lowe's technician to put it all together because I just don't have that skill set. Mixed ratings and reviews. Version history just updated a couple of days ago, a week ago. They're doing regular with that.
That's what you like.
This has also got. I mean, it's got to be tricky to do this. So you can imagine they have to deal with bug fixes quite a bit along the way,
especially for Vision Pro.
Yeah. So those are 3 that I found. And I don't know if there are any others in the
nice finds.
So I don't know if there's anything else to say, guys. Yeah.
Did you look at the Gucci app?
No, I figured Dave would do that.
I mean, I just happened to see it on the app on the iPhone.
Yeah, which is the only reason why I looked at it at all, right? Because it was there as a new one, and so I installed it, and I thought, because it talks about fashion and entertainment, and so I thought it should be kind of neat. And you get a room, and it's kind of styled up, and then you get a square screen of a TV showing a video. So it didn't really it basically feels like an iPad app in a movie theater kind of view. I guess I was sort of disappointed, and maybe I missed something in it. I'm not sure, but it didn't give me what I was expecting to see.
What would you have expected to see?
I would wanted something that had depth, immersive.
Oh, so it was just
why have a video of a fashion show where it has no depth coming from a fashion brand label? I mean, it just seemed like they made enough effort to say, yep, also let the app show up on the Vision Pro, but not enough effort to actually, film it and show something unique.
Yeah. So by depth, you mean depth of field and spatial, not like metaphorical depth.
Well, no, fashion. There could be depth, but no,
Oh.
I didn't want to watch what I could watch on an iPad. Yeah, and then I thought, well, if that was going to be good, then you could go and you could look at this year's bags and see them with not just two-dimensional. So I was disappointed.
I didn't try it.
Yeah. But wait a minute, you just downloaded it though, didn't you? Just send it to your headset? Oh, okay. You just saw that it was possible through the Vision Pro iOS app. You can send that thing to your headset if you want.
Now, if there's
thanks for the warning.
I would show the wife that. So
yeah. Thanks for the warning, Eric. I was just ready to push the trigger on that one, and you saved me the trouble of looking at Gucci videos. So, Dave, where can people find you?
You can find me at In Touch with iOS at intouchwithios.com. I'm on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/intouchwithios. We record every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. You can also find me on Mac Voices Live on Tuesday nights with Chuck Joyner and these two gentlemen as well, and many others. Come check us out. As well as I'm on the Mac Show on the British Tech Network on Friday mornings in the US and our Brit friends. And you can find me on Mastodon and on Blue Sky. I'm at DaveG65. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and please check out Dave's show, In Touch with iOS. It's a must in terms of keeping up with what's going on with iOS and just general tech. He kind of goes into, he talks a little bit about Mac. He talks a little bit about Vision Pro. It really is a good week's overview of what's going on in the Apple ecosphere in terms of work. So enjoy that. It was Eric, but Cletus said Happy St. Patrick's Day. Sort of what's left of it. At least in my time zone, my wife and I call it amateur hour because people go out and on a college campus, and such is life. So, Dave, thanks for joining us tonight. And again, check out In Touch with iOS.
Thank you.
Great show.
Appreciate that.
People to keep abreast of that. And thank you for tuning in. We'd love to hear from our listeners. If you have any ideas or want to join in on an episode, email us at visionprofilespodcast@gmail.com. Our bumper music is Free Jazzy by Steve Combs, courtesy of the Free Music Archive. Learn more about us and the Vision Profiles podcast at our website, thepodtalk.net. I've got some other shows I'm doing there too, so happy to have you check those out. Spread the word to other visionaries. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.